Hi guys, welcome to today's video. It's Tom Bell here from Revenue Tactics. I'm about to introduce you to a very special guest and friend, Sean Hall, who is the Director of Advertising Demand Partnerships at the traffic source RevContent. Now, if you don't know who RevContent are, they're a premium native advertising network and they've got some fantastic high quality traffic available for affiliate marketers. Now, it's a network that I've been running with for a very long time, and I've had a very good experience there as well. So I wanted to offer you guys a real behind the scenes guide to affiliate marketing on RevContent and explain how you can start dominating with affiliate offers on their network. So in this video, I'm going to be interviewing Sean and masterminding with him on what makes for a great campaign with native ads. And one of the reasons that I wanted to do the interview with Sean specifically from the network is, aside from being a very smart guy and being generous and really forthcoming with his information, is because he has an enormous wealth of experience in the affiliate marketing space himself, as well as having literally an insider's look in terms of what happens on the network day to day. It's going to be great, guys. And you're going to get an honest backstage view of what makes a $1,000 a day and beyond affiliate campaign really tick. So before we dive into the interview, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, guys, so I can keep you fully up to date with more affiliate insider hints and tips just like today's content. I hope you enjoy the video. I think you're going to find enormous value in it, and I'm very confident that there'll be many golden nuggets that you can take away and implement into your own campaigns. Thanks for watching. Hey there, Sean. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, Tom. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Really appreciate you coming on. I know the viewers are going to get a lot of value from today, and really appreciate your time, buddy.
Yeah, no, happy to be here. Thank you for thinking of me and RevContent for this. I'm excited to get into it and, talk about all things native.
Absolutely. Fantastic. So just to start off, Sean, could you just introduce a little bit about yourself and how long you've been in the industry, what you've been up to? Because I know you've been in the industry a while, like myself, and that was kind of one of the reasons I approached you as well, because I thought you got a real good insight, not just on the industry generally, but in terms of more the technical advertising side of things as well. So I'll just hand over to you, and yeah, I'd love to hear a bit more.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know me, my name is Sean Hall. Been in the industry 10 plus years now. Literally have experience in just about every aspect of the industry. I've started as an affiliate manager. I've done business development. I've been a media buyer and affiliate myself. I've done consulting for networks and advertisers. I've worked for an advertiser. I've done internal media buying. I've helped bring products to market. And I've helped train other affiliate managers and business development professionals. So throughout the last decade, I've developed, a certain set of skills, if you will, that has made me very knowledgeable in just about every facet of the industry across many different verticals. Obviously, came up during the Nutra boom with the two-step trials. Took that into straight sales, and then took that into lead generation. And I've dabbled in just about everything. But my big thing throughout the years has always been to provide value. Whenever I meet somebody new, the first question I typically ask is, how can I help? What do you need? Can I introduce you to an affiliate or to an advertiser? Do you need a solution or a software? Or do you need a consultant? I'm a very big proponent of leading with value first, and seeing how I can help other people, especially in an industry as volatile as the one that we're in. You don't know where somebody's going to be 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now. So it's important to, keep your reputation good, not burn any bridges, and especially helping the people that are newer to this space, make them become successful. It's all about giving back and, like I said, building value. So back in December, when I took over the advertising side or the demand side of RevContent, one of the biggest factors in that is RevContent's, kind of culture here is also being, a value-driven company. How can we help advertisers? How can we help our publishers? So we were very aligned in our, in our ideology on being a client-focused company. And that's one of the things that drew me here. Outside of the fact that, while I was media buying for myself and for an advertiser, I had experience running on RevContent, and always had a very positive experience and a very profitable experience here. So when I got the opportunity to take over the advertising side here, it was almost a no-brainer.
Fantastic. Yeah. I mean, I've enjoyed a relationship with RevContent for a long time now, and you guys have been fantastic. And you've also been very helpful with a lot of my students as well. A lot of networks just don't even want to talk to you unless you've got like 30 or 40 grand just to dump in. However, you know, very willing to work with people on low budgets as well, which I think is fantastic. Firstly, to get a foot in the door and get started, but you know, in terms of scaling and you know the account management that you provide for people, beyond exceptional. I think it's fair to say. So can you talk a little bit more about how affiliate marketing works at RevContent, Sean? Because I know there's some really good opportunities there, aren't there?
Yeah, no, for affiliate marketing in general with Rev Content, we've always thrived at having really good exclusive placements that work well for a lot of the affiliate related verticals. We've done well with health and fitness offers. Obviously, we're just ending Q1, which is kind of like the Super Bowl for health affiliate or health and wellness offers in the affiliate space. We do well with ecom during Q3, Q4. Right now, some of the hotter, verticals that we're getting into would be debt relief, debt consolidation. Home services has been jumping up because as it gets warmer in different places in the country, a lot of people are starting to look at, repairing the house, whether it's windows, solar, siding, roofing, all of those lead generation campaigns have been doing well. And then obviously, as the industry's kind of pivoted a little bit from, continuity based types of offers into more lead generation, some of the evergreen offers like auto insurance, health insurance have always been consistent. We've been able to deliver a lot of that for our publishing partners. And we've kind of niched ourselves out into having really good placements that, are kind of where all of the engaged users are. So, we're big into the local news stations, the local, television station websites, the local newspaper station websites. We've got a lot of really good partners there. But then we've also picked up a lot of really good tier one placements that have been booming lately, like AccuWeather, Bro Bible, Barstool Sports, Reader's Digest. We've got a whole suite of tier one placements as well. So in terms of, how the industry in general can utilize Rev Content, really we're a perfect home for anybody that's trying to diversify their traffic sources, trying to increase their reach and kind of hit the widest corners of the internet. It just makes sense to, if you're not running native, to, diversify off of social or off of search and, test out native with those campaigns. Or if you're only running with one native network currently, it makes sense to run with the other ones. Whereas we have our exclusive placements, they have theirs. So it doesn't really necessarily need to be an us or them situation. We're just here to help them diversify their traffic, offerings, and also give them a new revenue stream, a new line to profitability. So, anything from the gadgets and gadgets up to, working with Fortune 100 companies. Rev Content's got placements for all of them.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. And certainly with my affiliate marketing coaching business, a lot of the questions we obviously get is what offers can work on native, and anything can almost work, as long as it's broad appeal.
Yeah. And that's what I tell people all the time. If you think about where native placements are, I mean, they're typically at the bottom or the middle of articles. So people are already active, they're already engaged into those sites, and they're already in that mindset where they're trying to take in new information that's going to ultimately benefit them in somehow. I mean, that's why we all consume media, right? Is we're looking for some way to kind of benefit our lives in some sort of aspect. So, if you can put together a product and you can put together, headlines and creatives that kind of, look like a blog post or look like a listicle, or that can, provide a solution to whatever problem they're having, you can see success on native pretty easily.
Absolutely. And it's understanding that user experience as well. I think that's the biggest stumbling block people find. Perhaps they've come from PPC where people are like actively searching out, obviously, the keywords they're punching in, whereas they come to native and the user isn't actively looking for the ad. It's, it's a type of interruption marketing. So you've got to engage them from that process, which is different. So for instance, they need to base once they've clicked on your ad, they come through to the landing page, you still need to keep them in that content-based experience. I think that's key. So let's touch on that a little more, actually, Sean, because I think that's a really good talking point. So when the user sees the ad, obviously that's the first interaction with the placement. So what would you say makes a really good ad? I mean, I always try and encourage my students to really maximize curiosity first and foremost, and also try and pre-qualify the prospect at the same time. So if we can drive that CTR really high, increase the click-through rate, we're going to get served better placement in the traffic auctions, aren't we?
Oh, 100%. It's entirely on the front end based on click-through rates, right? But where I think the pitfalls are for a lot of media buyers, especially a lot of newer ones to the native platform, is they do really good at generating that curiosity up front and getting that high click-through rate. But then they drop off on conversion rates because the user liked what they saw in the ad. They were either curious enough to click on it, or it piqued enough of a problem where they wanted to click to see the solution. And then it falls off on that landing page. So a lot of the coaching that I do with some of our advertisers is really pushing that congruence, right, between ad and landing page.
Absolutely.
So if you have, like, I don't know, for an example, like if you say, find out the reason why this hat is taking storm in the United States, and then they click on it because they want to know what hat it was, and you just take them to a general homepage for apparel.
Sure.
Like, you piqued their curiosity, but you didn't give them anything on the back end.
Right.
Or if you said, here are 5 reasons why you need this hat this summer, and they click on it and it goes to a landing page that has 5 reasons why that hat is beneficial with a strong call to action on it. Well, now you're going to get the click-through rate, and you're also going to have an increased conversion rate because you've had that congruency that went from ad all the way through to the landing page and so on. Because you want to eliminate, one of the hot topics, which I'm sure you talk about with your students, is friction points. And you want to eliminate as many friction points as possible. Just because in today's society where attention spans are shrinking on a daily basis, you don't want to give them any kind of time to think about something or look for something, because they'll probably bounce off, right? Absolutely. You want to say, this is what we do, this is what we offer, click on it, and then there's the solution, or there's the answer, and there's the call to action button. Absolutely. So the shorter that you can kind of make that, the higher your click-through rate's going to be, but also the higher your conversion rate's going to be as well, doing it that way.
Yeah, I think you put that really well. I mean, congruency is absolutely key. And I think incongruency can occur in a few more subtle ways as well. For instance, if someone is running a weight loss product, they do a really good job at the ad level, they get someone to the lander, and then perhaps they've got a weight loss solution for a female audience, and they show like a hulked up bodybuilder on the landing page. It's the wrong message. So I always try and encourage people to think of the overall marketing message and go with that. So for instance, I found in my own campaigns, actually showing a different thing at the ad level than the product can still work. For instance, because the reason people have actually engaged with that ad to start with is just the curiosity. As long as it's still broadly qualified for that kind of topic, it's okay to show them something different on the landing page. But as long as you don't lose, as you very well put, the congruency effect there.
And it comes down to having strong headlines as well, too, right? Typically in marketing, we're taught, from the very beginning, that people either run towards pleasure or run away from pain, right?
Right.
So if you're getting them to say, hey, this is the pain point that you've got, I have a solution for it, and you send them to somewhere that doesn't offer the solution, they're going to bounce out of there, right? And it's also too, like, having a multitude of creatives, a multitude of combinations between images and headlines to test. I think one of the barriers that people look at incorrectly, in my opinion, for native is that it's too cumbersome to get into, it's too expensive to test, and then they don't get in and they don't test enough, to really make it worthwhile. I mean, as and as you're probably telling your students as well, you should always be testing something to increase the profitability. Absolutely. Whether you're testing for click-through rate, or you're testing for conversion rate, or you're testing, images and headlines versus each other, you should always be doing something in that realm rather than just setting it and forgetting it. There's always room to grow. And I think that's where a lot of newer media buyers that get into native, kind of pitter out, because they're used to that quick ROI or that quick, action that they're getting from Facebook or Google, where they can spend, a minimum amount of money, but also see some of that quick return. But whereas native, it's more of a long-term strategy. It's more of a long-term process, because once you get it up and you get it profitable, as long as you keep feeding the machine and you're testing, it's a very reliable traffic source for a longer period of time.
Completely agree. And what you said about split testing as well, I think that's absolute gold. The best media buyers also split test the most, because they're aware of what they don't know. Because you could put 10 ads out, and I defy anyone to actually say which of those 10 will work. You can put 10 forward and you can say, okay, well, maybe 5 of those 10 have got a better chance. But
Yep.
you couldn't actually put your finger on which of those creators would actually perform the best and actually go on to be the most profitable. So even the creatives with the highest CTRs, those CTRs don't necessarily align with conversions, do they, Sean? It makes it more likely to get conversions, but the one that's got absolutely the highest click-through rate won't always be the one with the highest conversion rate.
Yeah, and when we're, our account management team here is really the backbone of the advertising side of this business. And a lot of times we're coaching the advertisers to, maybe, optimize for click-through rate, but also if you take a little bit of a hit in the click-through rate to increase your conversion rate,
Yeah.
that's a win, right?
Yeah,
And it's also
absolutely.
working with them to understand what the analytics are telling you, what the insights are telling you. Like a lot of people will just look at the highest click-through rate and they'll increase their budgets and increase their bids on those, when really they're not getting the highest conversion rate from those placements or those widgets.
Mm.
So a lot of it's kind of helping them understand that, like, a higher click-through rate is great, but if you're not converting, you're not making money and you're not profitable. And our goal here, from myself to account management, is to make you profitable. Nobody here is really like, out there just to try to get you to dump 20, 30 grand in so we can never talk to you again. Our goal is to make you profitable so you stick around for a while.
Mm.
We're big on retention here from the top down. We want to make sure that you come in, the experience is easy, it's not challenging, it's not complicated. We want to make it, a pleasurable experience, but also a profitable one as well. And that comes down to just, helping people with media buying and helping them understand that click-through rate's the most important part, but also you have to make sure that you're getting the clicks that are also leading to conversions as well.
Yeah. And I think there's a relationship between obviously CTR and obviously pre-qualification as well. Very important relationship, because you could drive your CTR really high, but ultimately if those clicks aren't relevant, and you're probably going to be paying, most people are on a CPC basis, you're just paying for basically junk traffic, aren't you, potentially? Well, not junk traffic in that sense, but just unqualified traffic. So, I always tell people, you need to drive your CTR really high, as high as you can. Great curiosity, but also just make sure you pre-qualify and you prospect as well. Yeah.
I would say that's an excellent point that you make with that. Definitely, being a media buyer myself for a while, I can tell you that I tell this story all the time.
Yeah.
Media buyers historically are two things: the laziest people on the face of the earth and the greediest people on the face of the earth. So they want to get in and do the least amount of work possible to make the most amount of money possible. And there are a lot of traffic sources out there that allow for that to happen. But that also means that they're really good at figuring out how to get profitable and stay profitable as well. So when you're looking at these things, and one of the things that happens when they come in is they'll initially be very, aggressive in the split testing and the optimizing phase, but it falls off pretty quickly if you don't have somebody there kind of guiding them through the process and kind of, I don't want to say holding their hand, but just kind of like we always say internally, being their Sherpa, if you will, as they kind of are cresting Everest.
Yeah, and it's really great you guys offer that, because not every network does. I mean, I'm not going to certainly call any out in particular on this call, obviously, but I just love the fact you guys have such a good level of account management for people. And you also don't discriminate based on budget either, which I think is really good, because everyone's got to start somewhere. I remember when I very first started many years ago, and I literally had $100 a day, maybe not even that, maybe like $50, $100 a day or something like that. And I just gradually worked my way up, but I had good access to people in the industry. I had help, I had a great mentor, and certainly having traffic sources like RevContent, play a big part in helping, new affiliates go on to be great affiliates. So I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at it like this, like what's more expensive, what costs you more money, $50 or $100 a day with no ROI, or $350 a day with ROI, right?
Yeah,
that level of, putting down enough of the deposit to work with an account manager and keeping your daily spend there, is going to be more profitable for you in the long run. I know in short term, a lot of people will look at test budgets as a line item on their overall budget, but realistically, that's where the investment starts, and every good investment should have a return on that investment to make it worthwhile. So we understand that here, and we're very good at working with those people. And a lot of my calls that I'm on every day are taking people from the self-serve side of the business and getting them to understand and appreciate how beneficial it is to work with an account manager. And to be honest with you, like the jump from self-serve to account management isn't that much. We don't make you put down a lot of money for that because
Sure.
we understand that we just want you to get to that level so we can grow you to the point where you're overall profitable and you're hitting your KPIs, and you're in that zone where you're hitting all of your goals financially, and it makes for a longer and a better partnership in the end.
Sure, absolutely. So, Sean, if we were to talk about a roadmap from someone that's maybe starting off, maybe they've got a little bit of experience and they've got an ultimate goal of hitting, say, $1,000 a day. Now, I would probably say to that student, well, firstly, it makes sense to educate yourself as best you can on the process and actually just dive in and launch some campaigns and get some first-hand experience rather than obviously collecting all the theory you can. But the first thing I'd be stressing would be obviously find a great offer. Find an offer that's converting well. So whether that's on ClickBank or another network, check the gravity out, speak to your account manager, see how it's doing on the network, see if you get access to like the global EPC. And then I like people to work back from there. So look at the landing page next. Look at what the offer does. If it's a VSL offer, then on the landing page, it makes sense to, show one of those sort of VSL style pages with a little bit of content and then work back to the ad from there. So I often talk about like a bodybuilder, preparing for a show, and they start from the date of the competition and then they work back from there. So I like my media buys to think about it sequentially like that. So obviously a really good advertising flow, getting good access to an account manager, obviously having the budget to, spend. Obviously you can't make $1,000 a day off $50. It's just not going to happen. Unless you got really lucky. And if anyone knows how to do that, please let me know, because I'd also like to do that as well.
Yeah, I'd sign up for that course myself if it was proven.
Right, absolutely. Okay. So what would your advice be, Sean? So someone's got a really good offer, they've got a good flow. Obviously, not everything they test will be profitable, but you can maximize your chances, obviously, by, implementing campaigns as often as you can, being consistent with that. What else would you say, aside from having a really good ad flow, could help someone scale to $1,000 a day?
Yeah, well, I think the thing you mentioned about starting with a good offer,
Yeah.
one that is converting and that's working well, is amazing, because it doesn't matter how much hand holding we do or how much management we do or how much advice we can give. If the offer is a dog, if the offer is a dog, there's nothing that's going to work about it,
Definitely.
And that just comes from doing your due diligence and having good advertising partners that have the offers, that have healthy mids, that make sure everything's up, that's consistent, that's reputable. That's key. Once you've found a good offer that is working and that it's converting, put together a budget, a first month testing budget. What's that look like? Because our self-service side, we have a minimum of $100 a day.
Yeah.
Just because we found, anything less than that, it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of, waiting around to get enough data to make those optimizational points. Because at small budget media buying, I mean, one conversion either way could swing this to, this is the best thing ever, I should scale it up, or this isn't working. So we're realistic in our expectations for our advertisers to be able to have a meaningful budget to do that. So I always say that's kind of third, at least get together, $3,000 to $5,000 for testing. And then the way I kind of tell people is, with any media buying, right? You launch, you probably lose some money.
Yep.
You optimize it based on the data. You launch again, you lose a little less money. You come back, you optimize, you launch again, you break even. You optimize, you launch again, you make a little, and then you take it up from there. That's kind of the overall process that I like to kind of get out there, because there's so many sources of false information out there when it comes to quote unquote affiliate marketing.
Oh, yeah.
On TikTok or in Reels or on YouTube, where they tell you all the great things about, work 20 minutes a day, make $8,000 an hour. Like, it's just, I like to set proper realistic expectations there. Once that happens, the roadmap is pretty easy. We've found that if you upload anywhere between 10 and 20 pieces of content to test, like in that ad set. So basically, if we break it down into the ad level, 10 to 20 headlines, 10 to 20 images that you're putting together. And one of the great things about RevContent is we actually just integrated what we call a RevGPT option. So maybe if copywriting isn't your strong suit, maybe you've got one really good headline that works, you can input that in, and then let RevGPT give you 10, 15, 20 other headlines based upon that one that
Wow.
you can also use and put into your campaign and literally with a click of a button.
Great.
And that's been working out well. Our internal tests have shown us that the GPT headlines are actually outperforming our manual ones by a
Oh,
little bit.
wow.
So
That's
it's not just fluff information that you're actually getting headlines that'll actually work.
mm,
And then basically going out and, I know the bad words in native has always been run of network because people have just,
right.
that's where we're just going to go to lose all of our money. But typically our publishers, our publish side team does a really good job of bringing on good quality publisher sites for us to partner with. And it's how you learn. I've been one of those guys where I like to kind of, when everybody else is zigging, I like to zag.
Mm.
As you can imagine, most of the conversations I have was, well, just put me on your whitelist, right?
Yeah, I get
But
that a
they
lot.
don't know what sites are on that list. And that list, at least in RevContent's terms, is a little, antiquated because, if you're running a shingles vaccine, you don't need to be on sites that cater to younger people, right? Um, but it's just going to be our top performing sites. So you're going to pay more for those placements. It's probably not going to have your target demographics there. What
Sure.
we like to do, what I like to do, because it's what I did when I was media buying, is I like to formulate my own whitelist. I want to test anything and everything I can that makes sense. And then I want to start optimizing based upon that. I want to separate my campaign to sources and placements that I know are profitable, but
Mm.
also keep testing new sources as I go. And then over time, what you realize is you've got your own whitelist of 100, 200 different widgets that's profitable that you can increase bids on, you can increase budgets on, and take you from that $100 a day or that 250 a day to that $1,000, and then you've got your own whitelist that works for that vertical.
I'm
That's the best in the more long-term way to do that is by testing what's out there. Now, working with myself or getting the account manager, this is where that rubber is going to meet the road because a lot of times they know from managing other accounts, you know, what sites are going to work best for you. Maybe the local news sites are best for you, or maybe you just need a site that just gets a ton of traffic and that's going to work best for you.
Mm.
They can kind of help guide you into those conversations to, again, help make you profitable in a shorter amount of time. If I wasn't working with an account manager, I'm again going to do the same thing. I'm going to find a good offer. I'm going to find or create 10 or 20 really good, combinations between images and headlines. And I'm going to start putting money out there and bidding, where I think I need to bid to get those impressions. And then I'm going to monitor it. The ones that are getting the higher click-through rate, I'm going to increase my bids there. The ones that aren't getting any action, I'm just going to block them out, right? Through the process of elimination, I'm going to optimize this to a profitable campaign. And at the end of my test budget, I should be able to see light at the end of the tunnel if I'm not already there, or at least have a path to get there. Because some campaigns are just dogs. Not every campaign is going to work. Any media buyer out there will tell you, you're going to come across some that just don't convert. We've all had those situations where we'll create two really good ads that we're like, these are going to be great. But just for testing, let me create, another one just so I have three where you just throw up some information. And sometimes that third one, which you had no faith in, is the one that converts the best, right? But how do you figure that out? It's through looking at the data and analyzing the data. So that's kind of my roadmap and how I would get there is just test everything, look at the data, things that are performing well, increase your budgets there, increase your spends there, add widgets that are very similar to that, and then cut out the things that aren't. So it's one of those things where you start with a smaller budget but a wide net, and then as you're optimizing, the net's getting smaller but the budget's getting bigger, right? And that's how you get from $100 a day to $1,000 per day.
Well said, buddy. Really well said. I love the way you touched on the run of the network there as well, because I think people hear run of the network and think it's a bad thing, but it's great to hear you say, well, actually the quality's there as well. It's not a negative entity. I mean, I get so many messages where people reach out and say, oh, can you give me a whitelist for RevContent? The amount of times I've received that message is just crazy, but I've always been of the opinion, similar to yourself, you want to collect your own data. I only trust my own data anyway. And also, you'd actually be doing yourself a disservice if you use the whitelist anyway, because you could be missing opportunities, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm a big FOMO guy. I have a fear of missing out. And if I just start on that whitelist, I'm like, well, what am I missing from the other ones? Like what am I missing on those sites? So even if I was given, a whitelist, or I was giving a list of placements or widget IDs that, we know that work, I'm still going to test the other stuff, because there might be something out there that, because it's not as quote unquote popular, no
Right.
one's running there. But you know what? There's probably a demographic of people there that might respond well, but no one wants to go there because everybody is zigging. And so I want to zag, right? I want to check that stuff out.
Mm.
And again, that's where I will continue to throw credit over to our pub team of going out and finding really good quality publishing partners to work with. I always say, if you haven't tested RevContent in the last year, 2 years, it's worth another look. Like, we've done a lot of work in that time span of increasing the quality publisher sites that we work with and that we partner with, as well as, revamping the advertiser side of things, adding things like RevGPT in there, adding things
Yeah.
like, optimization tools, and working with third-party companies that we've partnered with for those things. Like, again, we have a culture here of just being, advertising first, client facing, to make them profitable. So
Mm.
yeah, I mean, it's worth testing out a full run of the inventory that we've got, because they've done a really good job of cleaning that up. Like I said, I will always, always, always put all of the credit on our pub team and our account management team, because they're the ones that are the heroes behind the scenes, right? I love doing interviews like this. I like being the first point of contact when advertisers come in.
Yeah.
But really, the rock stars here are going to be the pub side team and the account management team here. Our support, I think, I would put up against any other network out there.
Yeah. No, it's very, very humble of you to say, Sean.
I'm
No.
just the pretty face out front. I know enough to have conversations like this, but realistically, it's the team behind me that makes RevContent as successful as it is.
Mm. That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's talk about scale, because you have a lot of scale. Obviously, there's a lot of quality, but you also have the ability to scale that quality. And some of my top students, they're spending 8 to 10K a day, no problem.
Yeah. I know there's, I guess, rumors circulating out there that, you can't scale with RevContent
Or
because
native
we don't have the
generally.
size.
Some,
Huh?
some people think with native generally you can't scale
Yeah.
like Facebook, but there's people.
Yeah, because they're used to the traffic sources of Facebook and Google that have billions of daily active users, right? So in comparison, yeah, we don't have that many, but we're not small by any stretch of the
No.
imagination at all. And one of the things that we're really aggressively going out with is we're looking to expand into the UK, expand into some of those tier one marketplaces. Right now, obviously the US is our biggest market, but trailing down from the US, you've got the UK, you've got Canada, you've got Brazil, you've got India. All of them have a really good, inventory, but we're looking to grow that, especially in the UK. We are aggressively seeking out publisher sites in the UK. We're aggressively seeking out advertisers in the UK. That's a huge opportunity for us right now at RevContent specifically. So if you've got traffic in the UK and you're looking to advertise on our UK placements, we're all for it. But yeah, scale isn't really, those aren't the conversations that I have on a daily basis where
Yeah.
people are having issues scaling. I more so have the conversation that, what can we do to scale more, to push the envelope more? They get in, they optimize, they see the quality, they're getting the service that they need. So a lot of times, they're looking to ramp up, and as of yet, we don't have a lot of issues with providing them placements for that. And if it is something that they say, hey, we're looking to run in, we're looking to do more in Mexico, or looking to do more in Singapore or something like that, like our pub team, again, giving them a lot of credit, will go out there and make that happen.
That's
So
great.
yeah, the opportunity's there. Me personally, I'm not necessarily out there whale hunting, looking for that guy that can do 30 grand a day. If he's out there and you're watching, please reach out. We'd love to have a conversation with you. But I'm more passionate and I'm more focused on finding guys that, taking the 30 guys that could do 1,000 a day, or finding the 60 guys that could do 500 a day. To me, that's more of a backbone of a business than finding that one whale out there that can do it. Again, we can take them, we can handle the volume. I would love to have that conversation. But one of the things that I liked about what you had going on with your students is your students are the people that I want to talk to.
Right.
They're the people that, if I can get them in, get them serviced and get them, educated on how it works, it's easier to get them from 500 to 1,000 a day, or from 250 a day to 500 to 1,000 a day to 5,000 a day.
Mhm.
It's just an easier roadmap up than getting somebody that's already at that level and trying to get them higher. Like, I like working with people that are getting in, and like I said earlier, I love helping out people that are new to the space and giving them an opportunity, and like you said, not discriminating against them because they have a smaller ad budget.
Yeah.
Like, small fish turn into whales, right? It's much
Absolutely.
easier to catch
Yep.
10 small fish and turn them into whales than it is to go out and find that one. So, again, if you're out there and you're that whale and you're not running with me, call me, reach out. We can definitely handle it. But if you're out there and you've been too scared to run native or too scared to try RevContent because you don't have a high ad budget, like, reach out. Like, we've got options. But yeah, to long-winded again answer your question, scale is not an issue.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's great, and we really appreciate obviously all the help you have given our students. It doesn't go unnoticed for sure. So let's talk a bit more about that UK traffic, because I know last time we spoke, Sean, we touched upon it a little bit, and obviously myself being from the UK, from England, it is nice that you've got that available. And even myself, I'm guilty of often, just focusing too much on the US campaigns and, perhaps not looking into international opportunities as much. But you've got a real good opportunity there, haven't you, for the UK traffic?
Yeah, right now we've got, again, the pub team has been really aggressive on bringing on a lot of really good publisher sites and partners in the UK,
Mm.
who are just asking us for more traffic. What can we send them? So right now, advertising wise, it makes sense to start looking at UK as an option to diversify. If you want, even again, diversifying geos, right? Maybe
Sure.
you're too heavy in the US and want to experiment a little bit with outside. Well, UK is a natural jump. If you've mastered US traffic, UK is a natural, movement over. I mean,
Mm.
English speaking, tier one, decent, average household income, like, it's a good spot to be in. And we've been aggressively bringing on more publishers in the UK that we need to fill with a bunch of great traffic. So it's a great opportunity for anybody that wants to diversify out, or if they have UK traffic and they're not running with us, that opportunity right now is great. And I'd be willing to, pull some strings and make some things happen to make it, more attractive for them as well.
That's great. And I think in terms of the campaign data as well, that's the sort of thing you can obviously recycle for the international markets as well. So in terms of marketing angles, you don't necessarily have to start again. I think maybe people feel like if they look at a different country, maybe they have to kind of restart those campaigns from scratch again. But it's not the case, is it? All of that good work you did in the split testing phase, you can just repurpose those images and headlines and essentially clone it and go again.
Oh yeah, 100%. One of the things I used to do when I was media buying is I would take a campaign that was starting to get a little tired in the US, and
Mm.
I would repurpose it in the UK, or I'd repurpose it in Australia or one of those other English speaking tier one countries, because it was new there, right? It hadn't been saturated, and then it gives new life to that campaign that was kind of on its way out here, gives you a chance to push that over there and breathe new life into it and get more profitability out of that campaign. So yeah, you don't have to start over. You don't have to start from scratch, unless you're saying, like, here are the top 5 ways that the United States has been taken by storm from this, or here are
Yeah.
the top 5 US. Obviously, you're going to want to change that verbiage up a little bit, because I don't know about you, Tom, but I don't see how excited you're going to get to click on an ad about things that are popular in the US when you're in the UK. So,
Well, I
yeah,
might.
speak to
To
your
be honest,
audience.
I run half my business in the US, so but I've always felt like I'm a bit split between time zones. So I always work a bit later because I've got to kind of marry that with the US time zone as well. So
Sure.
yeah, so I'm probably a bit more likely maybe than some of the other people over here. So
Yeah, so like I said, UK, wonderful opportunity. Or if you've got traffic in other areas that you're looking
yeah,
to expand or diversify on, it's always worth a conversation. Again, like we have, and again, I'm probably biased, but Sean Lally, who's my counterpart over here, him and Matt Hoy have done a great job with just expanding that publisher team and going out there and being aggressive on bringing in quality publisher sites for us to work with. So if there's an opportunity, let us know. We are more than happy to talk about it.
Fantastic. Well, I think that's a great point to end on. New opportunity. What more can you say? So, Sean, thanks so much for your time, buddy. It's so good. The information you've given us today, I think people are going to find that really, really valuable. There's some real key takeaways here. So guys, if you are watching, I'd recommend watching this again. Watch it a few times, because what Sean shared with us here is absolute gold. And I think you're going to find some real good value to take across to your campaigns, guys. So
yeah, and I just want to say thank you for having me on, and thank you for letting me kind of use this as a vehicle to get some information out there. And you know, if somebody comes in because of your referral, make sure to tell them to let me know. We might have a little extra something in there for them to kind of make it worth their
right, okay.
They're going to have to go behind the paywall to find out what that is. But
Yeah.
so click whatever link is available. Get a hold of me. I would love to set up a call, talk to you through things, even if it's just questions about native in general, or how to get started, or any fears you might have. Reach out to me. Like I have an open door here. I'd love to sit down and talk to each and everybody that's interested.
Fantastic. I love that. You've been great, Sean. Really appreciate it today. Thanks so much.
Absolutely, Tom. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll talk soon, buddy.
Yep.
So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I know I had an enormous amount of fun speaking with Sean and creating the content for you. And after hearing what he had to say, I also hope you're not just going to collect this information, but you're going to go out, take action, and implement some of these strategies into your campaigns. So if you haven't already, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with everything that's happening in the affiliate industry, as well as my tutorial videos for our affiliate education academy, revenuetactics.com. And as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.